You gonna go with Pop-Pop? Pop-Pop, he's coming with you.
Hello, Bill. How are you doing? This is my son, Brian. This is Vincent. That's Adam. No, that's it. I'm leaving. Oh, yeah. How you doing? Hey, there was Lee. Nice to meet you, Lee.
Mama, come on over here and grab yourself a table.
Yeah, hey, this is How you doing? Doris, how you doing, girl? Huh? I've seen you in a long time.
That's
All right.
Let her have one bite.
How are you? Looking good.
Ronnie's one of the twins. Right here, he's one of the twins. Do you ever remember the little twin? I don't remember none of them. Right, like this. Oh, come on, yeah. You go forget it. I probably wasn't even born.
Hey, honey, you gotta have a name tag? Hey, everybody left me. I don't blame her. I don't blame her one bit.
The only one I was looking
All them tables around here, the breeze is on this end. Oh, boy.
That's their back. Now I get my head.
You got big, but why can't we have ours on ours? Great-grandson-in-law. I'm a grandson-in-law. Hey, honey. My name is Quick. What do you want me to call you, John? Do we get him or not? John, Mr. Ellis. Do we get him or not? I know it. There you go. What a pretty orange was that? Yeah. They're not on us. He's a cock.
That's just all I'm saying. We take honey, when you forget that they... She gets right very front. Yeah, she's tiny. Stand right here. You don't have to hold her, honey. Just stand there. Let her stand there. Put y'all two hearts together. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to give you one. Yeah. That's fine. We better get another one. I know Mom's going for the me. Okay. You still filming. Y'all pose. Y'all can play. Beautiful. Oh, thank you. Becky! Becky! What? Catch. I can't catch. You catch. Right there, let's call juice out and throw. Let's go. Come on.
Horses, man. They got big.
And the second, no. More harm than right. We're not bleeding. Yeah, I remember. How you doing? That's good. You have to bear with us. Yeah.
Eight three.
I was getting ready to pitch, John. I'm like time. I don't wait on nobody.
Hey, John, what y'all playing? 11? 21? Okay.
If you pitch, we play. If you get 11 and the other team don't score, you get that's a stunt.
Okay. Get on back in the woods.
What we get?
That fucking lined up just didn't have it down.
We'll be back on that.
No. Yeah. Come on, you. Wide open, buddy. Wide open.
They understand. I want to go get it.
There it is. There it is.
Where do you think you going? Where's he going, Bill?
Put another one right beside.
Get me. Look ahead.
Wide on, mate. Wow, we'll take one. Hey, you can get it. Hey, you can get that. You can beat it.
We're going to have to give you 4.
You can get that. Come on.
That's 12 to 15.
All right. How the hell could that be 5? I got one down a while ago, made it 4. Why did you say something? It's 9 to 5, ain't it? That don't matter, Nick. I know, we don't need it. We'll give it to him. 9 to what? 5. We'll give him 9 to 5. Yeah. And this is going to be 8. 2 more. Damn it. Ow!
What did we get down there, John?
Huh?
What did we get down there?
4. Ah!
I told you not to worry, John. It don't lack at all.
If just the women
Is that the way y'all playing?
take them to shelter if you need one. I don't want that. I don't want to walk. Oh, I can walk. Rod has seen a couple of tea over here. I look how pretty. I was going to go out and buy me a Dorito. Oh, okay. Hi, how are you there? Yeah.
I got about 3 or 4 pictures right here. You don't even know about it.
The tea has got to have ice put in it because it was fresh made this morning. I'm sorry. I ought to drop a few pieces down in there.
Hamburger.
Hello, Becky. Taking that pearl. Got her in here all day. Pearl, are you back? We got in there.
How much more? Oh, yeah. Can we get a picture of y'all? Barbara. Come on, dog.
Oh, my. Don't hurt yourself.
Give him an extra jump. A couple extra jumps.
I'll try
Hey, John, I'm kind of like Joe. Any help you can give us, we appreciate it.
And not only that, see, who's sick, and Nelson? I don't care. Let's do something.
Huh?
Sure. Hey, lot of ball.
I'm not going like I'm talking about you. Hey, come on down, man.
Bonnie, Wayne, Mom, Dad.
Let me down, Daddy.
As long as you don't go and fight, don't get hurt. Everybody will watch out. Everybody will watch out. Oh. If that wasn't short and sweet, wasn't it?
Should have picked up another one for today.
There you go. Ready? Hit it.
15 to 4.
Watch it. Ready? We're just about. Here you go. You are being filmed. Ready? Pretty good. Good. Hey, Betty, wave, honey. Teresa! There you go, come in. Here, Melissa. We're walking for like camera. I guess he's filming. Wait a minute, let me go behind him. You're everywhere. No, look. Have it.
What are you starting to say?
Nothing. Stop that. I'm going to ram it in your ear. You come get glad to see you down here. I'm going to Dave tag. So that's what you're finally making time. How you doing? You doing? Okay, come down here.
Y'all play these women.
It's only 10 now.
That's it.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. Lisa has dirt all over her shirt.
We don't mind.
On your next trip back in school.
Take that.
Tracy.
I don't know which one's mine.
There's yours. All right.
Hey,
a big tour, and this is where the old home place sits in this exact spot, so kind of a little bit different what it used to be.
Well, the weather's right
Memories
there.
are all still here, so make yourself at home, go all through the house, anything you see, just open the closet and look, I don't care. Hi.
My name's Tommy Cox, and I'm a grandson of Mr. and Mrs. Cox.
That's great. Did you ever know your grandmother and grandfather?
Oh, yes, I knew my grandfather and grandmother. Yes.
How old were you when your grandfather died?
I was about, I was about 13.
Do you ever remember when he farmed the land and all?
Oh, yeah. I remember, yeah. And I was sawmill down over the back of the house, and my older sister cut her foot down that one Sunday playing.
She did?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember any of that, so that's real good. I don't remember at all. I remember he farmed over here, but I don't remember a whole lot about the
All
little
this
details
out
like
front
that.
was open. Out in front, the new house here was open. That was open when I was my son's age.
Which one are you in relationship of your daddy's children? Which numbered child are you?
I'm in the middle. There was 7 of us, and I'm the middle one. There's 3 old and 3 young.
When were you born?
September 20th, 1941.
How old are you now?
43.
How many years you been married?
25.
Is your wife here?
Yes, she's here. Audrey. This is my wife, Audrey.
Hi, Audrey. How long have you and Tommy been married?
25 years.
How many children do you have?
Well, we have 4 living and 1 passed away.
Do you have all your children here with you today? How many are here with you?
3.
Okay, can you round them up and maybe let them identify themselves? Hi, what's your name?
Jerry.
How old are you?
9.
What grade are you in school?
5th.
You go to King George?
I'm busy.
Great. Is this your sister?
Hi, Katrina.
How old are you?
11.
When were you born?
1973.
What grade are you in school?
7.
Great.
Hi, my name is Rita.
How old are you?
19.
You're married, I think, aren't you?
Exactly.
Is your husband here with you?
No, he's not.
Where are you living now?
Maryland, Sealand, Maryland.
None of you were around at the time, I think, when our grandparents were living down here, so you probably don't remember much about the old home place here.
No.
But you're the oldest of all the children, right?
No, I'm the next to the oldest. I have an older brother.
Yeah, Eddie's the one that's not here today.
Right.
Great. Hi, what's your name? Phyllis Plaza. What relationship are you to the Coxes?
Granddaughter,
Who's your mom?
Aline Cornwell, Cox.
Cox Cornwell? Exactly. Do you ever remember your grandmother and grandfather at all?
Grandfather,
Your grandfather? How old were you when he died?
I don't know. Maybe 4 or 5.
But you have a recollection of him a little bit. You ever hear your mom talk about him much?
Yes.
Does she remember much about the farm and all
Yeah.
down here?
Yeah. I remember staying here.
You remember staying here? What do you remember about staying here?
Your grandmother cutting chickens' heads off.
Oh, that's great. I remember that in later years, though, but
Doesn't she sound just normal?
I don't remember it. I remember your sister rubbing my face in the mud down here, so I guess we got some very fond memories of this place. It happened right in this spot. Are you married?
Yeah.
Sure.
How long you been married?
20 years.
And
After 20 years, I don't blame you. You got to stop thinking about it.
We'll let him worry a little bit.
okay, would you like to introduce your husband for me, please?
Oh, this is Paul.
Hi, Paul. Did you ever have an opportunity to meet any of the grandparents involved at all?
I don't believe so.
No, I'm
My step-grandmother.
yeah,
Yeah.
my grandmother. Where do you all live?
Bel Air, Maryland.
Never lived in Virginia at all. No. But your mom spent some time, I think, down here growing up and going to
In
school.
King George.
You've got children, right?
Yes.
Are they here? Yes.
Yeah, walking
Would you
down the
mind? Would you mind having them come over momentarily, please?
Hey, Lisa.
Hustle a little bit.
Tracy.
Hurry up! How many brothers and sisters do you have?
3 sisters.
And all of them are here today? Great. We're going to get a chance to talk to everyone, have everyone identify themselves so that we'll know the whole family. Okay.
First Lisa. She's the oldest.
Oh my. What's your name?
Lisa?
How old are you? She has dirt on her shirt.
16.
What is your birthday?
August 24th.
What grade are you in school?
I'm going into 12.
Where do you go to school? See Milton Royce. Do you know what you're going to do when you get out of school?
No.
No plans at all?
I think nursing, but I'm not sure.
Got a summer job?
Yes?
Do you like it?
No?
Do you like it in Virginia so far?
Yeah.
You've been down to visit enough. Do you think we're kind of nice people down here?
Yeah.
Great. I believe you got another sister here too, don't you? Hi, what's your name?
Tracy.
How old are you, Tracy?
14.
When's your birthday?
March 16th.
What grade are you in school?
9th.
You got any plans for the future?
To go into nursing.
Well, that's great. That means all you guys are going to be looking out after other people. That's real great. That goes okay. To place stuff in the head. Hi, what's your name?
My name,
Yes.
Robert O. Cox, Jr.
What do you go by?
What do you mean, Robert?
Robert's what everyone calls you?
Junior.
Does the family call you anything different to your face?
They call me a whole lot of stuff. You want me to name it?
Who's your daddy?
Odell Cox.
What relationship are you to the actual Isaac Monroe Cox?
He's my grandfather.
And what was Bertha May Cox's relationship to
She
you?
was my grandmother.
Do you remember your grandfather?
Sure.
Did you ever come down here and visit on the farm when my grandfather was alive?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember much about him?
Well, depends what you want to know.
Well, what do you know that you can tell me about him? I never got to know him. He died when I was a year old, so I don't know anything about him.
Well, you see that little piece of ground right back here?
Uh-huh.
All right, I come over here minute Saturday and Saturday evening, Sunday, and help him work his garden right there.
In this spot?
Right in that spot. The old house up right here.
Do you remember anything about his disposition and what kind of man he was?
Well, he was a big man. He drank some. He fussed some. He fought some. Yeah, he was gentle. What else do you need to know?
Well, anything you
in
might
other
know
words, he
that I
was
don't.
himself. And a person that's their self, that's the way they should be, their self.
But you remember him well down
Oh,
here.
yeah, sure.
How old were you when he died?
I guess I was 15, 16.
But you can remember him pretty vividly prior to his death.
Yeah.
Did you used to come down here a lot of times in the evenings or in the daytime?
Practically every Saturday and Sunday, mostly.
That was probably the family oriented
Mainly, I come over here to get the fried potatoes and beans that Bertha cooked.
Well, that's
You know?
yeah. She was always famous for being the good
That's
cook in
right.
the family.
You better believe it.
He worked and put it on the table, or brought it in the house, and she had to work and put it on
She
the
put it
table.
on the table. And
How many children do you have?
4,
How many children do you have here with you today?
1, 2,
Two children.
2.
One's coming.
One's coming yet. Yeah. Robbie's coming.
How many years you been married?
32.
Yeah, 32.
This must be your wife here, man.
That's
What's
her.
your name?
Yes, Gloria.
32 years. You got any words of wisdom you could pass on to the next generation after 32 years of marriage?
You wouldn't want to hear them.
To my generation, to your generation, to
To the
anybody's
next generation. Because after us, it's a new generation
Yeah,
coming
well,
up.
sure. Such as what? Why you been married 32 years, I
Right.
guess. Well,
Yes.
fight and make up, and then keep on going. Don't stop.
Well,
That's one
that
solution.
sounds like some pretty good advice
In
there.
other words, if you're going to fight, make up. Why separate? So,
Any words of wisdom being a parent with 4 children?
no, I can't answer that. In other words, the only thing I can say with the 4 children, they're living in another world, different from ours. So,
Do you feel that your grandfather ever had any influence on you after his death, that in hindsight when you think of him, that you ever recollect anything he ever told you or anything you ever saw him do?
well, really, I can't answer that. I mean, you liked him, you loved him, but I guess probably in certain ways you want to do certain things he done. But I haven't done any of them.
He was a hard worker,
Oh, yeah.
from what I've been told.
Yeah.
I believe you got one of your sons here with you today.
Donnie, he's back here. But that's the biggest job of all, keeping them working. You know.
Want to give me your whole name?
Donald Lee Cox,
How old are you?
23,
When were you born?
September 1st, 61.
61.
Yep.
You live in King George, right?
Yep.
You probably are entirely too young to ever remember your grandfather.
Yep. I hear about him a lot, but I don't remember him.
You got your wife and your son here with you, I think?
Yeah.
Can we get them over here and get a little shot of the wife and the son? That's okay. We like to have the benefit of all kinds of personalities today. You want to give me your name, please?
Denise,
And how old are you, Denise?
21.
How long have you and Donnie been married?
2 years in August.
What's your name, young fella? Huh? How about giving me your name? You can't talk. I know you can't.
This is Little
That's
Donnie.
little Donnie. What do y'all call him?
Little Donnie.
And you're Big Donnie, right?
Yep.
And this is the big boss over here, so we know we got all this Cox group together.
This is the big ball. Without her, I couldn't have made it 32 years.
The backbone of the family, right? Yeah. Do you remember my grandfather Cox?
I never met him.
You never met him. You were not. Yeah, I guess not. If he was just 15 at that time.
I've heard a lot of nice things about him, though. I wish I had him.
Yeah, he was a real nice man, from what I understand.
He sure was.
Great.
Okay.
My name? No, I'm going to tell you in a minute. Hi, what's your name?
Anna Skidmore.
What relationship were you to Isaac Cox and Bertha Cox?
Daughter.
How old were you when your father died?
It was in
Do you remember your father real well?
Yeah.
You were old enough to remember him when he died?
Yes.
Do you remember when he lived here?
Yes, indeed. I stayed here a while.
Do you remember when he lived with, and my grandmother was his housekeeper over at Hop Yard Farm?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All the children were at home that day. Well, you were one of the older ones at the time, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever help as far as household things? And
Too much because it's kind of small.
But you remember your father farming and
Yeah,
everything?
sure. He's a farmer that lost that. All the boys was there. Yeah.
All of your brothers and
Yeah.
sisters? Do you remember them when he moved over to this property?
Yeah.
Do you remember at the time when he used to farm here all the time? Were you still living at home or were you gone?
No, I wasn't here then.
Where did you go when you left here?
Fredericksburg.
Did you get married?
Yeah.
Who did you marry?
Calvin Freddie.
Do you have any children with Calvin?
One.
What's her name?
Brenda Lee.
How old is she now?
43.
Do you have any grandchildren?
One.
And what's her name?
Dana Lynn.
How old is Dana?
Dana is 24.
Where does Dana live now?
She's in Texas.
You talk with her often?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah. Do you remember after you moved away from the home here, did you ever come back and visit real often and frequently?
Yeah, I did after Daddy died, so with my stepmother.
You did?
Yeah.
After your father died, you moved there? At that point, then, were you like a teenager or a young adult?
I'd been married and divorced then.
Oh, you'd already been married.
And I came home to live home.
Did Brenda come with you at that time?
No, she stayed with her grandmother most of the time.
Okay. Did you ever remarry again?
Yes.
Who was your next husband?
Elmer Skidmore.
Commonly called?
Mutt.
How many years were you and Mutt married?
Oh, Bob, I can't think of it. I don't know right all. Goodness me, got married in 51.
Now, Mutt passed away a number of years
And
ago.
73.
So you put in then about, what, 21 years?
Yes,
I think my arithmetic's probably right. Where do you live now?
Fredericksburg.
You still get to come to King George quite often.
You know I do. Much as I can.
This is the old home property. You like the new way it's being developed?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Glad to have you here with us today. Okay. Hi, what's your name?
Robert Odell Cox, Senior.
What relationship are you to Isaac Monroe Cox?
He's my father.
Are you the oldest of the children, or did you have anyone older than you?
The oldest one living. Yes, one brother dead, older than me.
Who was that?
James Merle,
How old was Merrill when he died?
18.
I guess you remember him fairly well at that point. How old were
Very
you
much
at
so.
that time?
About 16.
Were you and him close as brothers?
Indeed we were.
Did you do a lot of running around and partying, or
No, not much partying.
did you do a lot of working?
Mostly work.
Did you work a lot with your father?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember, I know he farmed this property, do you remember the one that he farmed prior to this time?
Oh, yeah. He managed a hop yard farm and also a Powhatan farm one time.
I guess you were a young boy at that time when that was going on.
Oh, probably, yeah. Maybe 20, 21.
How old were you when your father died?
Me? Oh. Got to thinking now exactly how old I was.
Oh, Lord.
Probably 24, 25. I don't know. Yeah.
I understand my grandmother would have been your stepmother,
That was great.
How old was your natural mother when she died?
She was 39. 39 years old when she died.
Do you recall how old you were at the time she died?
No, I don't. I don't remember exactly how old I was. Maybe 15, 16.
What was her full name?
Lily Mae. Her maiden name was Krieger, Crigger.
Do you remember when your father married my grandmother?
Very much so.
You were apparently married and gone from home at the time that they got married.
Oh, yeah.
Were you already married yourself?
Yes.
Did you visit here on this property a lot when Bertha and Isaac lived on this property?
Sure did.
Was it a daily kind of visit, or did you just occasionally?
Mainly in the afternoons, late nights, yes.
Your father farmed just about all of this tract of land.
Yeah.
Did you ever assist in the farming down here, or did you have your own business going somewhere else?
Working elsewhere.
You were elsewhere. How many children do you have?
7.
What are their names?
Robert Odell Jr., the 3rd, right? And Richard Monroe, Marjorie Ann, and Doris, Thomas. Yeah, Tommy and Doris, Wayne and Bonnie.
What was your name?
My name's Bonnie Clark.
Which one of the children are you from 1 to 7?
Wait a minute, I can't. Five.
You're the 5th one?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm going.
You live in King George,
King
right?
George,
You live here with your mom? Let me introduce myself to your mother. What's your name?
Hazel Cox.
How many years you been married to this man sitting here?
That's fine.
Too many to remember?
62.
52 years?
Yeah.
If you could pass on any words of wisdom to the next generation about a good marriage, what would it be? Is there anything that you base your years of staying with this man that would help another young married couple to stay together that many years?
No.
Just grin and bear it? Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. Thank you very much. Hi. Would you give me your name, please?
My name is Marie.
What relationship are you to Isaac Monroe and Bertha Leake Cox?
Daughter.
Do you remember your father real well?
I reckon I do. He died when I was 14.
You were 14 years old? On what piece of property did you live with your mother and father prior to his death?
Right here.
Were you born and raised here?
I was born in Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania County. But I lived here most of my life.
In your younger years as a young child, did you always remain in Virginia, or did you live elsewhere with your mother and father?
Oh, I lived in Virginia, always.
Never lived outside of this area at all?
No, not at all.
How old are you now?
49.
And when's your birthday?
January the 8th, 1936.
Where's your home?
Hibbing, Minnesota.
You said you were 14 when your father died?
Yeah.
After you got married, did you ever come back to live with your mother at all?
Well, I came every summer with her.
How many children did you have?
Me, I have 4.
You have 4 children? What are their names and ages?
Teresa, she's 33. 32, Dean, 31, Dickie's 30. And Teresa and Sharon is at 19.
Do you have any grandchildren?
I have 4.
4 grandchildren?
I have Michael, Melissa, Jeremy, and Cody.
Do you ever remember when your father used to farm this property?
Yes, I do. It wasn't on the honeysuckle when we moved here.
Did you ever have to help in the farming of the land or taking care of the land?
I was too scared of the bugs.
I guess he never made you because you were one of the younger children then?
Yeah, I was his pet.
Is there anything in particular about him that stands out in your mind more than anything else during his lifetime?
He was a happy person. Very loving father.
Very strict too.
Punished you when necessary?
Slightly. Not very much though.
In the children that he had, what number were you in relation to, I guess when he married Bertha Leake, which one of the children were you in
I was
number?
his second one.
So that means you're next to the oldest one.
I am the oldest.
You're the oldest one?
And then Jack, then Buford, then Joe.
Do you remember when he stopped farming this property, or did he farm up until the time of his death?
Practically each year it went down because he had arthritis so bad. But after that, it just went down. But he was in a potato patch when he had his stroke.
Were you home when that happened?
Yes, I was.
Do you remember when that happened, was a doctor called to the scene, or was anything done to assist in trying to save him?
Yes, it was immediately, but he wouldn't go to the hospital.
He just stayed here in the house?
He stayed in the house.
You recall, now the property's changed a lot, it looks a lot different from the old home place, but you still recall where the house sat and where all the
Yes, I do, and there's that walnut tree.
Does the walnut tree hold any special memories for you?
Yes, because my mother used to crack them for Christmas money.
Did you ever help her?
She wouldn't let us because we wouldn't do it right.
In other words, she was a little bit strict too, huh?
And you better believe it.
Well, I certainly appreciate you talking with me now. Before the day's up, I hope I get to talk with you again because I want your two daughters that are visiting with you from Minnesota to talk to me a little bit too.
A silk flyer wilts on me.
Does this make you 10 pounds heavier or 10 pounds lighter?
Well, I'm going to start with him. We're going to go over to you.
10 pounds lighter.
To the good side. First of all, would you mind telling me your name?
Joe Cox.
What's your full formal name?
Alfred Delano Cox.
How old are you?
43.
What is your relationship to Isaac Monroe and Bertha May Lee Cox?
That was my mother and father.
Do you remember how old you were when your grandfather died? I mean, your father died, I'm sorry.
I was about 8.5 years old.
Joe, tell him. How recently did your mother die?
It was a year ago, March 17th.
Do you remember much about your father down here and your mother on this piece of property?
Well, I can remember my mother because I was 17 when I left here. But I can remember different things about my father, but nothing.
How old were you when your father died?
8.5.
But you remember any of the vague things when he farmed or anything?
Yeah, I can remember him working in the field and in his garden. And I can remember when they used to kill hogs. See, that was a big thing back then, you know. Everybody get together and kill hogs and stuff like that, and, you know, different things. But
did the kids ever help, or they just kind of stood on the sidelines?
Well, like you do now, just getting away, you know. But back then, see, they killed 7, 8, 10 hogs, and everybody get together, the women and the men, see, and cut them all up. And, you know, that back then they used all the hogs. They just didn't use part of it. But it's
put
like
it into sausage or
sausage, hams, chitlins, the whole works, you know. But it's like I say, it's just things like that that I can remember about my
Do you
father,
ever remember any of the evenings sitting around the dinner table with your mother and father?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can basically remember, you know, when we was kids and you went to the dinner table, you went there for one reason, and that was to eat, you know.
Is that what your daddy
Oh
said?
yeah, that was right. He had 2 special times, I think, and that was for eating and sleeping, you know, and that was his quiet time, so he wanted it that
Where were you born?
way. Havre de Grace, Maryland.
Was your mother and father, did they work on a farm or anything when they were in Havre de Grace?
Yeah, but I can't tell you the name of it.
How old were you when they moved back to Virginia?
I believe about a year old when they moved. They didn't, I don't know if they moved here or not, but see, they worked on he worked over at Hop Yard and everything, I believe, before he went to Maryland, you know. And I believe they might have moved here when they come back from Maryland. I'm not positive, you know.
After his death, do you remember how your mother made out and what all she did here on this piece of property?
Well, she she stayed here, and you know, we had a small garden and everything, just like we did when Daddy was living. We didn't have too much. You know, we had some chickens and things, but she didn't raise no hogs or nothing. You know, and we stayed here and just survived the best way we could.
And you were how old when you left home?
17.
When did you return? When you left the state of Virginia, where did you go to live then?
To Maryland.
How long did you stay in the state of Maryland?
Up until 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
And you've been back in the King George area since then?
Right.
If there was the vague recollection you have of your father, is there any one thing that stands out the most about him?
Well, I can remember the night he died. I mean, I can remember that very well. You know. And,
what makes that stand out so much?
Well, because the whole family was here. You know, all my half brothers and people like that. And I happened to be I can remember being in the bedroom when he died. So that, I guess, stands out in my mind more than anything.
So that's left an impression on you?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say a bad impression, but, you know, it's like I say, that's basically the last, you know, recollection that I've had of my father.
In all the years that your mother continued to live after your father's death, is there any one thing about her character and disposition that stands out the most? Not so much in her later years, but was there ever anything about your mother in the growing up years and then after the years of your father's death that she ever did that you'd ever say that she was a hard woman, a soft woman, a gentle woman, a mean woman, or a strict woman?
She was a hard-working woman. And, it's like I say, she raised all of us kids, and she raised you until you was, I don't know how old, 12 or 13, but she was a hard-working woman, but, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, she was a loving woman and a caring woman, you know, because anything she had and anybody wanted it was hers. She was that type of person, and she was like that all her life, I think, you know.
Which one of the children were you in your father's marriage to your mother?
I was the fourth child.
Was that the baby of the family?
I was the baby of the family, that's right.
What relationship did my mother, Dorothy Thornhill, have to you?
Well, Dorothy Thornhill was, she was my half-sister. She was from my mother's previous marriage.
And who was your mother married to previously, do you know?
I don't know his name. I know it was Thornhill, but I don't recollect. I've probably heard his first name, but you know, it don't stick in my mind. But
did my mother mean anything extra special as far as you were concerned, or?
Well, she was extra special to me. Now, I mean, I can only speak for myself because of her and her husband Vince basically took care of us when we was kids, you know, as far as like giving mama money and paying for groceries and stuff like that. And probably if it hadn't been for them, I don't know what would have happened. You know, we'd have probably been more likely split up, I guess. Who knows? You know,
you're married now?
Yes, I am.
Your wife and children are here with you, right?
Right. My wife Betty is right here.
Would you like to give me your name? Betty. What is your whole full maiden name and married name?
Betty Lee Thamer Cox.
And when's your birthday?
December 30th.
And how young are you?
I'm 29.
Soon to hit the big 3-0, I understand.
Yes.
How long have you and Joe been married?
9 years.
Short or long years?
No, they've been good years.
Got children?
2.
No names and ages?
Joshua Isaac Cox is 8, and Jason Thomas Cox is 6.
And later on today, we're going to get a chance to talk to both of them. I know you never knew Joe's father, but I know you knew his mother. If there was any one special thing you'd ever like to say about her that all of our children can remember many, many years from now, what would it be? Be it any description that you'd like to give of her, what one thing would you like for your kids to remember about this particular woman?
She was a good-hearted woman, and if she liked you, she always liked you. She would never say a bad word about you, but boy, if you crossed her, you better watch out. And she was always good to me, and I would never say anything. I mean, she made me mad, but I mean, most mother-in-laws do make you mad at times, but
No such thing as a nice mother-in-law. I've been told that too many times.
she always treated me good. She really did.
And your boys got to know her real well before her death?
Yes. I couldn't lay a hand on Josh and Jason because if I did, me and her would have words. I mean,
You were born and raised where?
Baltimore, Maryland.
And you moved to the state of Virginia with Joe?
Yes, I did.
Big difference from Maryland to Virginia.
And I love it, and I wouldn't go back to Maryland for nothing in the world.
Good, we don't want any of you to leave us down here. Thank you. Oh, I had them cook all night on an open barbecue. Hi, Jonesy. How are you? Okay, you guys gonna start now, huh? We're doing it now. Okay. Oh, look at her. She's sitting down there by that tree. I want to bring two. I want you to help me ready to bring that great big sheep in.
Right angle. All right. There we go. 3.
Well, thank you.
Where he at? Here it is.
But it probably was. But I think it's good for you.
Yeah, right. There it is. That's what I was where I got the cul-de-sac back.
Hi. First of all, what's your name?
Kenneth
Kenny what?
Cox,
Is that your whole formal name?
William Kenneth Cox Sr.,
Who was your dad?
French Monroe Cox.
What relationship are you to Isaac Monroe Cox?
He's my grandfather.
What relationship were you to Bertha May Leake Cox?
She's my grandmother.
Out of all the children, which one are you in brothers and sisters to your dad?
To my dad, I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Do you remember your grandfather Cox at all?
Oh, yes.
How old were you when he died?
I was about 12.
Do you remember any one particular thing about him more than anything else as far as Isaac Cox was concerned?
Well, all you got to do is look at Buford Cox, and you'll see Granddaddy Cox, because he's exactly like him.
Do you ever remember coming to this piece of property when your grandfather and your grandmother were here and farming it?
Oh, Lord, yeah, I used to play. I played all through these woods where we're standing at right now. The old home place was right back over here. And I played in these woods many, many times here. We used to go to Bill Wheaton's store and buy bologna and loaves of bread and come over here. Buford, Joe, and myself, and Mickey, my brother. We used to have picnics over here in this woods.
Did all y'all used to run around a lot together?
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Now, Joe and Buford are what relationship to you?
They're my uncles, half uncles, but they're my uncles.
They were then your father's
half-brothers.
In later years, I think you learned to know Bertha a little bit better.
Oh, yeah. She's a good woman.
After your grandfather died, do you ever remember spending many evenings with your grandmother down here?
I used to spend the night down here a lot of times.
Did all of y'all used to party a lot around her, or did she ever get mad and fuss at you, or do anything in particular that you ever remember about Bertha?
When we misbehaved, she'd get after us, you know, but normally she was a good woman. She never bothered us.
Yeah, do you spend a lot of time around here? Did y'all just get together here and start out and go on out and fool around elsewhere?
Well, in our younger days, we used to stay right in the area here a lot, you know, and play. We got 14, 15 years old, and we started running around, you know, chasing the girls and all, and we'd run around, go to Pony Beach, Fairview Beach, Fredericksburg. That was Buford Joe and myself, and Junior, Odell's boy. We used to all run around together and drink and party.
Have a lot of fun there.
Had a lot of fun, chasing the girls.
Now, how old were you when your father died?
When my father died, I was 38.
How old were you when your mother died?
So Mom died when she was 48. I must have been 25.
What was your mother's name?
Fanny Bell.
Fanny Bell Rose, I think. Do you have any one thing that stands out in your mind very much about your mother and father over the years that you grew up and were around them? If you ever had to say one thing, be it good or bad or indifferent, if you were ever going to tell your grandchildren something special about your mother and father, what would it be?
They were good people. They always provided for us. And sent us to school and gave us plenty to eat. And they were just good people in general.
You think the generation when you grew up is a little bit different than the generation you're raising now?
100% different.
And how many children do you have?
I have 4 children.
What are their names and ages?
William Kenneth Jr. Billy is 24. 23. Keith Allen is 22. Debbie, she tell me how old they are. I know how old they are. Andrea Lynn is 20. And Rodney Michael is 16.
16. If there could be any one thing you like for your kids when you're dead and gone, or for your grandchildren to ever remember about you, what would it be?
I was a good person.
And you like to sell a lot of cars.
Right.
I understand your sister's over here today too, right?
She's sitting right beside me here. Sitting right
now,
beside
can I ask you your name, please?
Ada Virginia Cox.
Ada Virginia. I didn't even know
You didn't know that.
Ada Virginia. May I be so bold to ask how old you are?
49.
And how many children do you have?
9.
See, she didn't ask me how old I was. So.
You've been married for how many years?
32.
And your husband's name?
Richard Edwin Brace.
How many grandchildren do you have?
I have 6 grandchildren and 3 step-grandchildren.
What do you remember best? First of all, did you ever get to meet what would be my granddaddy Cox, Ozzie Monroe?
Yes.
Do you remember very much about him at all prior to his death? How old were you when he died?
14.
14? Mm-hmm. I talked with my Uncle Joe earlier, and he says he remembers when his father died. He was here on this piece of property, and he remembers very vividly different things about it. But did you ever come here often and play and be a part of this family when they were all?
Yeah, we always were here. Even here at Mama's.
What do you remember in the short time you ever knew Isaac Monroe? What is it that you remember the most about him?
He was a good man.
What is it about Bertha Lee Cox that you could ever say you remember? Because she died many, many years later. Is there any one thing about her that you remember?
She was a wonderful person. I used to come and help her all the time, clean, wash Venetian blinds, and bring the children when we were little. And everybody would play.
All on this piece of property,
right here. Yeah.
You have always lived in the state of Virginia? Mm-hmm. Now you live in a different area, right?
Mm-hmm. Pennsylvania.
Do you remember when all this was farmland here and when everyone was growing up as children? Mm-hmm. I guess you remember me as a small child.
Oh yes, a little and pretty.
If there was ever any one thing you'd say about me in those younger years, what would that be?
You were a sissy baby.
No. That's a nice description of what I was.
No, you weren't.
Probably I was justified. I understand everyone had their turns
Just
for
like
me.
we were.
Is there anything in particular that you can remember that you did on this piece of property or that you did up at your mom and dad's piece of property as a child growing up?
Well, we used to have the house in the woods, and then we'd come down here, and the way the house was built, it was a scary hall, dark hall, and they'd hide in the closet and jump out at us.
Were you one of the few girls that was in that grouping at that time growing up?
And you had the upstairs, you know, that one room, the big one room you walk into, that was done.
And they always liked to pick on you because you were probably the only girl around.
It was Marie and I, Peggy. All three of us the same age.
So all three of you would be down here as younger people growing up?
We were all together, yeah.
Well, as I recall, I remember all the boys, and when they were older, they used to always run around their little groupings, and the girls sometimes got left behind. But, your youngest child is how old now?
She'll be 12 tomorrow.
And her name is?
Suzanne Ray.
Is there anything else that you'd ever like to say? You've been married a lot of years. Is there anything you would ever like to tell your children that would help them to ever have a marriage that's lasted as long as yours has?
You just have to hang in there. That's it. Because, I mean, it's a rough road to travel sometimes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear.
Hi, I see we got a little local bunch over here at the beer kegs. Everybody having fun?
Of course.
Yes.
Can I get both of y'all's name, first of all?
Annette.
Norman.
You are related to who?
Aline.
So that makes you what relationship to Isaac Monroe Cox?
Granddaughter.
You have any children?
One.
And where do y'all live?
Your turn.
In Bel Air, Maryland.
It's kind of fun hanging out around the keg, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody likes cold beer. I'm even going to go over here and ask this fine lady how she likes hers. And may I get your name, please?
Marjorie Cox Blevins.
And who are you related to?
I'm the daughter of Odell Cox.
And what relationship does that make you to Isaac
I'm
Monroe?
granddaughter.
Your husband's name?
Leonard Lake.
Got any children?
One.
You like the ice cold beer that's coming out of that tap today? That's great. We're glad to know that.
I just saw a good
listen.
party going
I want you to get her that girl in.
Well, I was street. I saw all the cars, and I saw a nice party, so I figured I'd come to it.
Well, the first place you had it was to the beer keg, wasn't it?
Exactly.
What, are you a Michelob drinker?
No, Coors, but this will do.
Ice cold, huh?
Uh-huh. Nice.
First, can I have your name?
Rodney.
Can I have anything else you got?
Everything.
All right, that's real nice
If
to
you
know.
wiggle as well off the tape as you do on, I would definitely be with you.
What relationship are you to this group down here today?
Well, you're my wife.
Okay, is this our home?
I hope so.
Of course, you never knew many of the Coxes, the older Coxes. You know all the younger Coxes.
No, I know a lot of the older ones. It's the young ones that are confusing me.
Okay, well, when I said, you and I are talking about two different olds, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking old, and you're talking middle old.
Middle old, that's right.
But you do remember Bertha Cox.
Bertha, definitely I remember Bertha.
What one thing do you ever remember about her the best?
Well, Bertha and I got along very well, to tell you the truth. I remember a lot of things about Bertha.
Is there one funny incident you'd like to go down on this tape for the next generation to ever remember about your relationship with Bertha?
Yeah, the day that I was going to take you out of her house, she came after me with a shotgun.
And I guess...
Didn't come after me, threatened me.
What'd you have to do as a result of it?
Moved you out anyway.
And then, how long ago did you marry me?
Yeah, 8 years ago, last week.
What was that?
What?
What date was that?
You put me on the spot, aren't you?
I'm going to try to.
Oh, you should have asked me earlier.
You haven't had that much of a Michelob yet.
3rd of July.
Thank you very much. We'll get around to our children a little bit later.
I see one over there now running.
Drink a little bit more beer and have fun. Hi.
Hi,
First of all, can I have your name?
Lynn Buford Cox.
What do you commonly go by?
Buford.
Anybody ever call you Bookie too?
Yeah, quite a few of the family does.
Now, first of all, what's your relationship to Isaac Monroe and Bertha Lee Cox?
I'm their son.
Which one are you in relation to the children they had while they were married in numbers?
I'm the second one.
And how old are you?
45.
And when's your birthday?
August 13th, 39.
How long have you been living in the state of Virginia?
Well, I just moved down recently I spent a lot of my life in Maryland, about 3 years ago.
Do you remember much about your father prior to his death?
Right much. I was 10 when he died.
You were 10.
So, right much of my life, I remember a lot about him, yeah.
Is there any one thing that you remember about him, either through people telling you or your actual remembrance of him as a man?
Just working this old place right here. The old home site used to be here, and I can remember him plowing the fields and having me to help him on the disc and stuff like that. It's
probably had a little bit of fun in there.
Oh, yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. I can remember the disc turning over and him coming and helping me get it back, because I was just a little old tot then.
But he let you run it now?
Oh, yeah.
How, after your father died, how many more years did you remain in Virginia or in King George?
Well, after Daddy died, I spent approximately 6 more years down here, then I moved to Maryland.
And who'd you move in with when you went to Maryland?
I moved in with your mother, Dorothy.
And how long did you live with her?
When I think about 5 years I stayed with her, or close, because the first time I was married I was 19, so no, 4 years I stayed with her.
Well, how many times you been married?
Twice.
Would you like to identify either of your wives or say anything about any of them?
My first one was June, my second was Diane, so, and I ain't working on the third one.
Well, that's real nice to know. Of course, we all know that your mother recently passed away. Is there any one nice thing you remember about her you'd ever like for our next generation of children to remember?
Well, she was just a good person. She was always good to everybody that she met and everybody that I know she met.
That's a nice thing to pass on, because our kids can all grow up and someday they won't have much remembrance of any of us, and it's real nice to know that we can pass on how nice they all were.
Yeah. Well, if they look at this 20 years from now, they'll have some kind of remembrance of how we were then.
Well, they'll certainly preserve all of us for a while, won't they?
Well, you got it. It's like you said, 20 years from now, they'll look at it and say, who's that bunch?
That's right. You have fun today, eat a good meal, and pitch some more good horseshoes.
I'm going to try to, honey. You
too. You got to start burning some of these hot dogs, okay? I'm just going to ask you who you are and what your relationship is and all that. Hi, first of all, may I ask you your name?
Shelley.
Shelley what?
Furl.
What's your full name?
Shelley Louise Furl.
How old are you?
13.
When's your
14, August 25th.
August 25th. First, can I ask you what your relationship is, first of all, to the people that are having the party today?
I'm Ralph's daughter.
That's very good. You never knew, I know you never knew Isaac Monroe Cox. Did you ever know Bertha Cox?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have much remembrance of her at all?
Yeah, she was good on picking the wrestling people.
Well, that's a
She knew how to pick them.
That's great. What grade are you going to be going into in high school?
Ninth.
That's real good. Are you having fun cooking hot dogs?
Yeah, they're burning.
Well, everybody likes a burned hot dog. You having fun today?
Mm-hmm.
That's real good. We'll get back to you before the day's up, okay? See you later. Hi. First of all, will you mind giving me your name to start with?
My mouth's full.
That's all right. Your brain's full sometimes, too. What's your name?
Stephen S. Skidmore, Jr.
Do you bear any blood relationship to Isaac Monroe Cox and Bertha Lee Cox?
No.
Do you have any friendship relationship to either of them or their descendants?
I'm afraid so.
Is that an insult or a compliment? I understand you're always the first one to show up for food, and it looks like you're the first one who went through the food line.
And a beer, too.
What relationship do you bear, if any, to anyone here?
Just a friend.
Who told you to come?
You.
Oh, excuse me, I forgot. I thought you were just a party crasher.
And my wife's a Cox.
Well, now let me ask your wife her name, too. Now I got to come back and ask you something. First, can I just get your name, please?
Jean.
Jean what?
Cox-Skidmore.
What Coxes are you related to?
Not these Coxes.
Not these Coxes. Your Coxes are from somewhere else?
Right.
How long have you and Steve been married?
Too long.
Oh, that's real good to know. That's always comforting to know that we reach a time it's too long.
Too long, right.
You live in the area, though?
Yes.
What do you do for a living?
Not much.
That's good. You got a rich husband who's going to take care of you.
Right. Working on it.
Great. Steve, is there anything you'd like to say and pass on to the next generation so that we will know that Stephen S. Skidmore lives on many years down the line?
Where did you get this background to be an interviewer?
Because A man told me that I could interview anyone I wanted to interview.
What did you ask me? Tell me again.
I don't remember.
See, she's not
You've got to answer my questions when I ask them, or we're out of luck.
Or she forgets it.
You got a couple of sons, right?
Yes, I do.
You're also related to some of the Leaks that are here today.
Yes, I am.
What relationship are you to any of the Leaks that are here?
Let's see, Carol Leak's my uncle. Have I got any more Leaks in my family?
I don't think so.
What else have I got? I got some Coxes in the family, right?
Yes, but different Coxes on the other side.
No, Marie.
You got our
Marie
Cox.
used to be mine.
Do you have a tendency to come around and party a lot with the Furls and
definitely.
everyone on the Thornhill Estate
I
property?
belong to the family, even though I'm a Skidmore, right?
What is your relationship to Thornhill Estates?
I happen to be a realtor. I'm selling all these products.
You're the indirect owner of each of the lots, aren't
I
you?
get a portion of all of it.
The more you sell, the more we make.
The more I sell, the more you make.
Thank you very much. For the day's up, I'm going to swing around and talk to you over by the keg.
Right on.